Should you be in a long-distance relationship? It's a tough decision, but I can give you the short answer first. As someone who has been in a long-distance relationship for 7 months now, with someone who is on the other side of the world, I can say one thing. It is difficult. But all relationships are difficult, and they're supposed to be that way. After all, if you're in a serious relationship, you are testing to see if you can handle their imperfections, while they are testing to see if they can handle your imperfections. And this is true because no one is perfect. All relationships require work, and no relationship offers a guarantee. It's a huge risk, but everything is a risk, so don't let it dissuade you. It's also a challenge to see whether the two of you can work together to overcome your incompleteness and make this life more whole. You find someone who makes you better, and you try your best to do the same. This is the challenge of all relationships, but adding distance to the equation just makes it more difficult. You can look at it as the ultimate test. You need to be a very special type of person to overcome this. To love someone without touch, to trust someone without sight, and to be able to grow together in love and in life is only more difficult when they are not there. Yet it's not impossible, and it's certainly easier than it was 100 years ago. So, you've fallen in love with somebody who lives far away from you. Good job. What do you do first? Maybe it's time to decide what you really want. Are the two of you in love, or is it just infatuation? How long do you see yourself with this person? Try to have a conversation about this. It's a big decision, which will lead to many lonely nights. But if you feel that the two of you have the qualities which it takes to have a long-distance relationship, then maybe it's time to make a plan. What qualities do you need to have a relationship over distance? Well, they're the same qualities which you need in order to have a regular relationship. It's just a bit more intense than usual. I'll go over them now in the order which I find them to be most important. Communication is the most important part of any relationship. You need to be able to say what you want and how you're feeling. We're lucky to have the ability to call people with a video whenever we want. At least we can still see each other. If you have a Wi-Fi connection, WhatsApp is a great way to see and talk to each other. Use it well. Make sure to keep in contact with each other often, because if you don't, the distance will only feel farther. You need to feel like you're still a part of each other's lives, and that you have the same story, that you really know each other. Part of communication is also listening. Listen to them. You don't have to make the same mistake if you understand how they feel. And if you're not sure how they feel, then just ask. And work together. Remember that you're a team in this. No one wins an argument, but you can both win if you come out the other side, understanding each other better, and without bitter feelings for the other person. Next, affection is hard to show over long distances, so make sure to do plenty of it before they leave. Once they're gone, though, you need to be able to show that the other is still wanted. You need to be able to say, "I want to touch you," or "If I was there, I would kiss you." Affection is what drives us when we fall in love. When I'm in a relationship, I want to know that my love longs for my touch. It makes me feel secure, but it's also important for women to feel this way, so do your best. And before you screw up everything like I did many times, be respectful to your love. Try not to say anything that you will regret later, because it's hard to build that trust up again. Try not to swear, especially at your love, and take a second to breathe before you get too mad. Be patient, but of course, one of you is going to screw this up because that's just how people are. Try to be forgiving, take time to let the anger subside, and remember that you love each other. It will take time, because it's hard to forgive someone that you can't see. It's so easy to be mad, and it's also hard to show that you're sorry. But if you practice being respectful and being forgiving, things will get easier. Of course, both of you will have to be strong for this, but in our situation, the man of the relationship is expected to be stronger than the woman. It's part of her culture. He can't be weak because he holds the relationship together on a bad day. I haven't been perfect at this, because sometimes it's hard to control emotions. And in my culture, it's okay for men to show feelings. So I agree, maybe it's better for the man to hide his emotions sometimes to keep the relationship stable. Over time, I have been able to be stronger for us. I have made mistakes less often because of weakness. I think that it also makes me into a more dependable person. Remember that the two of you need a lot of strength to make it through this together. One thing you can do to ensure that your relationship will grow in strength is by being completely honest with each other. You don't want to be in a relationship with someone who you can't be honest with, so this is something you really need to consider. A relationship which is built on lies will fail, so it's helping both of you to be honest. In the future, you want to be able to go to this person for help if you make a mistake, which you will. Your love has to be able to depend on you. You want to build this trust over time. If you can share your embarrassing stories, then you will be able to trust each other. This is how to build a strong bond. In a typical relationship, you can see through lies by the way they act in a physical way. But in a long-distance relationship, you won't have this. You will have to trust blindly, based on the belief of a person's good nature. You will want to know that this person won't lie to you. If you decide that they are a good person, morally, then talk about it. Make a pact, make rules, make sure that they are dedicated to this. Humor is so important for long-distance relationships. It's hard to have fun in a normal way, but you can always laugh. Always look to make your love's day brighter rather than darker. You know that if you're successful, you can joke about your stupid fights. Yes, you're going to have lots of fights. It's just a fact. We've even developed a lot of jokes that only her and I understand. So don't always take life too seriously. Also, share your interests with each other. We both made music playlists for each other. Some nights we play internet games together, and we start videos at the same time so we can watch and laugh at them together. Temporarily, you can forget about the distance between each other. This last one is kind of complicated. It's about allowing your love to have freedom. In order to let this happen, you will need to be willing to trust them. And it's so important because when you let them grow, they will bring you back stories and ideas and dreams that you never thought of before, which also helps you grow. But there's a balance to freedom. You will have to let them know what you're comfortable with. Can they hang out with girls or boys? What time should they be home? Are you jealous? You need to let them know because you need to continue being a big part of their life. You will both need to make sacrifices for this because your love is like a vase, which is easily broken. So be absolutely clear about what you need in order to be comfortable. Jealousy is an awful feeling, and you want to limit it as much as you can. Of course, these qualities will be specific to what you're looking for in a relationship. You will have to take some time to think this through yourself. If you decide that the person you love has the qualities which meet your needs, or that they can grow into the person which will give you what you need, then it's time to talk to them and make a plan. A real plan. How are the two of you going to be together one day, in one country? What will things look like 6 months, 1 year, 5 years from now? Maybe you don't know exactly, but making a plan will help to get things started. I can't tell you how many times our plans have changed, but we never gave up, and things began to work for us. Once you make a plan, it's good to dream about it. Talk about what your house will be like, how many kids you will have, and what you will name them, the color of your dog, what kind of bathtub you want. These dreams can help you to dig yourselves out of really bad fights. They help to stop failure. Give them something to hold on to. Dream big. Make sure that you're going to make this life worth living. Because that's the point, right? Why else are the two of you dating? It's because you're incomplete, and you need this other person to make your life more whole. Dream about it. Make sure that the future looks the same in your mind as it does for them. When I met my girlfriend, it was almost a year ago. She just happened to travel halfway around the world to show up at my house that I lived at with a few other people at 4 o'clock in the morning. It was entirely random chance. One day she was just there. I met her and immediately I thought she was beautiful. but I had a hard time pronouncing her name. This was the first time she thought I was stupid, but it wasn't the last. Over the next months, we began to build a relationship with each other. I knew that I liked her, and I knew that she liked me, but I was also afraid to date her because I knew that she was leaving at the end of the summer. So we pretended not to like each other. Yet, I was so happy when she would get home every day. I would pretend like I was doing something important in the kitchen just so I had a better chance to talk to her. I should have confessed my love to her back then, and this time I was too concerned with being comfortable. It's just a stupid thing. Never be afraid to take risks in your life. You will regret the things that you didn't try more than the things that you did. There was a specific day when I knew that I loved her. It was the 15th of September. I had never felt so free in this day. I wanted to spend every day like this. Her spirit, it was so free. She was like a child. We could have unlimited amounts of fun if we wanted. But it still took me another half a month to confess that I wanted to kiss her. Yes, I know, in the most embarrassing way possible. No, I'm not going to tell anyone how I did it. But I'm just going to tell them that you turned me down, and then I had to go to work, and I felt so stupid. I wanted to kiss her for so long, and I just embarrassed myself. So typical. When I finished work, I went to my room quietly, still feeling stupid. I didn't want her to hear me get home. I just wanted to sit in my room, and she walked in. And then she laid in my bed, and I put my arm around her. It felt so good. I couldn't believe it. And then I kissed her. It was better than I could imagine. That was it. She stole my heart. I was hers from this point on. The next 4 days were like a dream. We spent all the time together that we could, doing silly things. It felt right. It felt so natural. On the 4th day, we hung out with her friend all day, held hands in public, got home, had our first fight, and then we made up. I took her out to the nicest restaurant in town. It was just like a movie. She was wearing this beautiful black dress. The streets were wet and reflecting all the streetlights. We ate our dinner with candles. We didn't share anything other than our love for each other. We went home. After a while, we fell asleep. We woke up, said our goodbyes, and then she was gone. I didn't know I could feel a pain like this for her, letting someone steal your heart and then letting them go. It was so hard to see the future, or even imagine it. But she went back to the other side of the world to finish her studies, and I was doing the same. We talked to each other. We decided to make this work. I never knew a love like her before, so it was worth it to me. We started to talk every day with video calls. Sometimes we would talk 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. We never ran out of things to talk about, but sometimes we would fight. It was very hard for both of us. We did the best we could. We would make big promises to each other that were very clear about how much we loved each other. Somehow we ended up loving each other even more, even through all the distance, than when she left. In December, I had a break from my university. In this time I tried very hard to learn her language and her favorite songs on guitar. I would spend every day. Of course, I failed miserably, but I think that was important to show that I was trying. We still had our fights. Some were actually pretty bad, but I think you learn how to react better over time. We never gave up. We just kept going. Also, in this time, I tried very hard to get a visa to be allowed to go to her country. It was something that I've never done before, that is, leave my country? I was nervous, but we kept dreaming. Eventually, this dream became more and more real. I got a passport. I got a visa from our government. Then we booked the plane tickets, the hotel. It took me 3 times to get it right, but I got it done eventually. We should have never had doubts, because almost exactly 6 months after she left, I was getting on a plane to travel 4,500 miles to see her again. I was so excited, and I was very nervous. After 18 hours of traveling on a plane, I landed in the same city as her. And as I left the airport terminal, there she was. She was standing with this silly red balloon in the shape of a heart, which said, "I love you" on it. It was so cute. I went to kiss her, and it was the most awkward kiss of our lives. But it was okay. It really didn't take us long to feel comfortable around each other again. By the time we got back to the hotel, everything felt like it used to. We spent days like this, the best days of my life. We walked through the city, this foreign land in my eyes, holding hands everywhere we went. We traveled through the subway, I met her friends, we went on long adventures until our legs hurt from walking. Every day was beautiful. The sun shined exactly for us. Yet, we couldn't stop time. It kept slipping through our hands. No matter how much rapture we felt, there was also a nagging feeling that everything would come to an end. We had been through it before. I went there to give her a promise in the form of a gift, which I will always keep. I promised her that I will always wait for her, that even when things get dark and gray, I will never give up, that I will do everything possible to spend this life with only her. I still mean it, my love. In the last of these 8 days we spent together, we wrote down everything that we had done, every precious moment. We also wrote down a list of 10 things that we promised each other that we will always do to keep our relationship going. Number 1 was never give up. We spent the last night packing and crying. How could this world be so cruel to tear us apart? But it did. The next morning we were in the airport, walking together, trying to enjoy every last minute. We walked together to my terminal, then she looked at me, said it was time to go. She turned around with tears in her eyes. She kept turning around to tell me to walk away, but I couldn't. I just had to watch her go. But then she was gone, and I went on my plane. I could never imagine a pain greater than this. I called her at the terminal with video. We seemed kind of okay, but it was painful. I just kept flying back home. Then I got back to my car. I tried to call her 20 times. It was night where she was. I spent all day chasing the sun. Then she finally answered. I drove home silently, listening to her sleep. The first week back was the hardest. We even had a big fight, but our dreams kept us together. Since then, we've made a lot of progress on her internship program to get her back to my country for a year. It gives us more time to plan. This has all been so complicated and difficult, but I know that it's really what I want in my life. A lot of people would have chose a simpler path. To do something which seems impossible is a choice, but we made the impossible choice, and we're still working on it. I don't regret anything. We spent the best days of our lives together. We have a chance to be together, to have a love that's worth sharing. I don't regret anything. I would do it all again for her. All the lonely nights, all of the fights, all of the doubt. They are nothing compared to our dreams. We have grown so much stronger because of this. And yes, it's 4 more months until I see her again. Every day is a number, and counting days is so hard. It's awful, but we're going to do it. Our love is worth it. My promise to you is forever true.